Look, we've only really answered one question. I know the question everyone wants answered is, are the 49ers going to win the Super Bowl? We still don't know that. Can they win a Super Bowl? The answer is definitively, unequivocally, yes. What a dominating performance over the Philadelphia Eagles. What an extraordinary statement game for the San Francisco 49ers, for Kyle Shanahan, for Brock Purdy, for a possible MVP campaign, for this defense, for the city of San Francisco over the city of Philadelphia. Let me tell you what happened. The Eagles got their absolute asses kicked at home, and but for a really nice start to the game that they had, and the fired up Dom gets Dre Greenlaw ejected moment of the game, but for a fat security guard, the Eagles got their asses kicked today. I mean, there was an awful lot of red inside of that stadium to begin with. Then the fact that there is very little green inside the stadium at the end, it's like somebody has pulled a fire alarm in Philadelphia, and the San Francisco 49ers are going to have their best airplane ride in in years. This is the best win of the Kyle Shanahan regular season era. It got off to the singular worst start, not an opinion, measurably, with statistics, with yardage, the worst start that any game Kyle Shanahan has ever coached for the 49ers. I don't care who, what season, when it happened, preseason, postseason, end of season, in the season, doesn't matter. It got off to a terrible start. And the 49ers win going away. We do not have a final from Philadelphia yet, but we got ourselves an outcome that will not change. The 49ers are going to go on to win. It is 42-19. The human victory cigar that is Sam Darnold has entered the game. And I think I said during the week, if you see Sam Darnold, either something has gone really, really well or really wrong again. And what do you know? What do you know? Today, Philadelphia got a little bit of that, hey, if your quarterback gets knocked out of a big game, that might be a bad thing. Jalen Hurts was able to come back from the blue medical tent, but for a minute there, Philadelphia concussion protocol worried because all of a sudden the Eagles, they got a really big game against the Dallas Cowboys, and it's no time for the 49ers to be letting their foot off the pedal because this is a season where their greatest dreams could come true. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This was a statement game. This was a statement win. This was something that was very special. And here, a little post-game and Damon, the most aggressive post-game show on YouTube. We don't even wait for the game to end before we get going. And the 49ers, like I said, are going to take one of the best showers of the entire year. They're going to wrap up whatever media obligations that they have as a road team in Philadelphia. They are going to get probably a whole bunch of Genos or Pats or hopefully even a better cheesesteak than one of those two tourist attractions can offer up. But there's going to be a meal at a buffet that is going to taste great because when you win, everything tastes better. And the 49ers are kneeling on it and are ready to shake hands. And good night, Philadelphia. 42-19 is your final. And welcome to the Hughes Orthopedics post-game show here on the Damon Bruce channel on YouTube. Again, we just went over 11,000 a day after we went over 10,000. This thing grows, and I really appreciate all of you being here. Your loyalty is unquestionable, and your loyalty to the 49ers has absolutely paid off this evening. What an incredible win. I mean, a statement win all the way around. Brock Purdy asking the whole world, how do you like it? Do you like 314 yards and 4 touchdowns? Do you like that? Deebo Samuel with, I don't care what he's done in any other game. This was his best game as a 49er. He had 2 of the more manly touchdowns you were ever going to see on Planet Football. Christian McCaffrey got done what he needed to get done. 17 carries, 93 yards, a touchdown. And honestly, the slow start was completely related to the fact that McCaffrey didn't even touch the ball in the first quarter. If you would have come up to me during the week and said, is Christian McCaffrey going to touch the ball in the first quarter in Philadelphia? I would have bet my children on yes. But because the Niners took back-to-back 3-and-outs and the saving grace of this entire game, and you can go back through my Twitter timeline, you're going to go ahead and see it for yourself. When it was only 6-0 Philadelphia, I thought, The Niners are winning this game for the first time this afternoon. They hadn't done anything. They had embarrassed themselves. They had had two awful offensive possessions, two bend but do not break defensive possessions where the Eagles basically drive the entire length of the field but settled for field goals. This was a day where settling for field goals would not be out there for the 49ers. It was there for the Eagles. The fact it was 6-0, not 14-0, not 10-0 was the saving grace of this entire game. It's the reason why the 49ers come from behind to win after they fell down 6-0. It should have been much worse than that, but it wasn't. And the 49ers went up 14-6 at the half on a Christian McCaffrey rushing touchdown, and Kyle Shanahan gets to do the one thing that we know is always a goal of his in any game he'll ever be coaching in. He loves the wraparound halftime scoring. Get me a score at the end of the first half, get the ball at the beginning of the second half, and score there too. And Kyle got it today, and they really never looked back. But for a moment, where Dre Greenlaw, and we got to talk about this, because this play is insane. First of all, Dre Greenlaw, absolutely, look, it's a player on the sideline. Dre Greenlaw's got a little bit of a reputation. So I don't think he's going to get the benefit of the doubt on anything that was close. The argument could be made that he was making a tackle there. It really wasn't close, but he suplexed the guy out of bounds. Personal foul, Dre Greenlaw, is the only thing that play should have rendered. That should have been 15 yards for the Eagles. You go ahead, you take it. Dre Greenlaw did play on the edge of the rule book right there, and since he gets no benefit of the doubt, he should get no benefit of the doubt here. But then some fat security guard who's apparently like locally famous in Philadelphia, Dom, is allowed to shove a player because Dom put his hands on Dre Greenlaw before Dre Greenlaw put his fist or pointer finger in anyone's face. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's no team in the NFL that won't trade a member of a security team for a starting linebacker when it comes to, an ejection for an ejection. How about a guy who is just, literally over here burping up meatball burps as opposed to a starting linebacker? I cannot believe he was thrown out. I can't believe that Dre Greenlaw was thrown out of that game with the fact there was video evidence that Dom put his hands on the player first. In what world do we live where an NFL security person can put his hands on an opposing player? Where did that ever come from? Have you ever seen that before? I've been watching football for 48 years. Well, I'm 48 years old. Let's just wipe off those 3 first years. I wasn't paying much attention. So for 45 years, I've been watching football, and I've never seen a guy who is like carrying a clipboard or holding the cords or pretending that he's head of security. Even I guess he's not pretending, he really is. But are you kidding me? How was Dre Greenlaw ejected in that moment? That is some soft-ass bullshit on a day where, honestly, I thought the officials let him play. Now, there are a few Eagles fans out there who are going to want to talk about a couple of pass interferences that might not have been called on the 49ers. Hey, bafangul. That's the way it goes. 49ers, 42-19 win over the Eagles. Again, Jalen Hurts wasn't bad. He threw for 298 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked 3 times, but 314 yards and 4 touchdowns for Brock Purdy. Deebo Samuel, 4 catches, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, a long of 48, and just man shit all over that football field. Deebo Samuel with an I'm flapping my gums, I'm talking shit to Philadelphia, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the link and I'm going to back it up with 2 of the more manly touchdowns you've ever seen in his career. He was like shot out of a cannon. He was wrapped up dead to rights, it looked like, in his first mannish touchdown of the afternoon, and he just shook off the defender and took off like a freight train. Wow. A hell of a game for the 49ers, who had an opening drive that went nowhere, a second drive that went nowhere, and they were behind early. All sorts of this ain't right hung over that first quarter, and then from the second quarter, it was all red and gold the entire way through. For the first time ever, 800 plus people in the room. That is the biggest audience we have had in an incredible week of growth here. If you are new, if the algorithm brought you here, please hit subscribe. Please go ahead and hit like. You leave a comment. I love talking to everybody. We have an incredible community here, and you will find that out when we start reading some of these comments in the chat. Very smart fans having an adult conversation, and no one's here to troll anybody. But if you don't mind me saying, Philadelphia, you got mollywopped today, and if I were you, I wouldn't say shit. I mean, when you win, say little. When you lose, say even less. Everybody in Philadelphia, no one should even call into a radio show tomorrow. The entire city should take one big shut the fuck up pill and not say a word, because you just got plucked. The Eagles got plucked by the 49ers. I mean, kicked their ass. That's a full-on, no doubt about it, textbook definition of a football ass kicking if I ever saw one. And this has no bearing on what we might see should these two teams meet again in the postseason. But what this game does have direct bearing on is who could be hosting. Who indeed could be hosting the NFC title game if either of these teams are lucky enough to be in that game. And you still got to be lucky to get there. The incredible thing is there is a lot of football still left in this season. There is a lot of take care of business and stay healthy out there for anyone who's got Super Bowl aspirations. But man, what a statement today. What a feeling the 49ers are going to have. And wait until you see, by the way, starting, I hope, with 49ers Wake Up. Larry Krueger and I are going to be at it on Monday morning at 8 a.m. right here on YouTube, the biggest 49ers show you're going to find anywhere. The 49ers are going to be in the A block of every single television and sports show in America tomorrow. The 49ers made a statement today that cannot be ignored, cannot be dismissed, cannot be poo-pooed or you know, like I'm going to move the field goal again on the 49ers. I'm going to keep moving the field goal on Brock Purdy. I'm going to keep moving the field goal on Kyle Shanahan. Can't win the big one. Brock is lucky to be here. It's only the talent and the weapons around him that allow him to play like this. Dude, you saw some ballsy ass throws and plays out of a real deal NFL, not screwing around starting quarterback. And that's Brock Purdy. I mean, this kid has got translatable skills that would make any team in football better. And if you can't recognize that, you can't recognize what quarterback play really is in this league. It's more than just an athlete or a body type or a measurement that you can come away with in the combine and say, oh, what do you know? We got Johnny Big Dick coming out of the draft. That doesn't matter. This kid's got it up here, and he's got it just about everywhere else, and situations will always matter. Always. Situations will always matter. He's in a great situation, and so are the 49ers for having drafted Brock Purdy. They were in a very good situation today for having Brock Purdy upright for all four quarters, and we're not going to go and do revisionist, I wonder how that NFC title game would have gone, because we know exactly how it would have gone had Brock Purdy remained in that game. It would have gone much differently. Much differently. Okay? Much differently. And for the first time in my little YouTube career here, over 1,200 people in the room, and I thank you so very much. Please go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe, and be part of this true, honest-to-God community where we're talking about football legitimately. Let me thank my sponsor, Dr. Paul Hughes. I want to go ahead and get the crawl going, because if you are in the Bay Area and you have joint pain, if you are a candidate for either shoulder or knee replacement, you need to see Dr. Paul Hughes before you make a decision like that. He gave me the Kobe Bryant over in Germany knee treatment, where he took some cells, some fat cells from me, spun it around in a centrifuge. I don't know what else, what happens in that, but then he took those fat cells, he injected them back into my knee, and my knee feels like it's 15 years younger than it was. My bone-on-bone pain of just every step going up the stairs, it's a little wince, it's all gone. Go see Dr. Paul Hughes and find out for yourself. 1,300 people in the room. If any of you in the Bay got a creaky joint, go see Dr. Paul Hughes, orthopedicsurgeries.com. If you want to have a procedure that could help you avoid an orthopedic surgery, check out Dr. Paul. We're going to leave the bottom crawl up for any and all information. The information coming out of this one today, the 49ers win 42-19. It is a monster performance for all involved. 24 first downs to 23 first downs for the Eagles. A lot of similar time of possession. As a matter of fact, the Eagles got away with a little bit more, 31-28 in terms of time of possession. Penalties, the Eagles had 7 for 48 yards called on them, 5 for 47 yards. This day came down to one spot on the football field more than any other spot on the football field. What'd you do when you had the ball in the red zone? Yes, the 49ers scored on 6 consecutive drives at the end of this game, all of them touchdowns. But where the 49ers really won this game is when they were in the red zone. 49ers in the red zone, got it done, 4 for 4 with 4 touchdowns. The Eagles were 2 for 3. They settled early for 2 field goals. And one of their touchdowns, let's be honest, was scored by the momentum caused by a security guard named Dom, who was able to get Dre Greenlaw thrown out of this football game. I've never seen anything quite like that in my life. We will return Dr. Hughes' information to the crawl a little bit later. I want to go ahead and start looking at chats. Again, if there's a super chat that already went flying by, I'm sorry that I did indeed miss it. But, you know, hey, we're at that holiday season. You want to sprinkle some super chats in here, they will stand out to an awful lot of people who are in here. New names, a whole lot of new names, a whole lot of legit old school names like Never Daunted, always there. Shut up, Philly fans. Kim, one of our OGs. It's a royal ass whooping. Incredible game. It really was. It really was, man. Matthew Starkey, you tell him, Damon, look, I don't have to say anything. The 49ers did all the speaking that they needed for themselves. All the speaking that they needed to do, they did for themselves today. That's called statement football. That is real big boy statement football. Again, we're making a little bit of a statement. You as an audience are making a statement. So many of you in here, thank you so very, very much for showing up. Being in here means an awful lot. And man, the 49ers mean an awful lot to the equation of who could win a Super Bowl. There's no doubt. They are in this conversation. They are a nasty, violent football team that put themselves, I think, on the pole position of favorite and darling teams. When the new lines come out for the new Vegas lines that are coming out after the week wraps up on Tuesday, I bet you they've got the shortest odds to win the Super Bowl. That's the kind of game that they just had. Go for Baroque. Can you say beatdown? Indeed. It was a beatdown that took one of the more, and I say this with all due respect, one of the more obnoxious fan bases. And today, Philadelphia was awfully quiet. I could not help but notice that the crowd did not affect really any moment of that game. There was more red in that stadium. There was so much red in a stadium supposed to be green. It looked like the Eagles were basically dressing up their stadium to send out the Lynx Christmas card. It looked red and green. And you can see an awful lot of Eagles games. The security, the opposing team doesn't get in quite like the way 49ers fans got in there today. This was a statement game for the team, for some individuals. It was a statement game for Deebo. It was a statement game for this defensive line. It was a statement game for Brock Purdy, for Kyle Shanahan, for John Lynch having built this team. Well, certainly with an awful lot of decisions that he and Kyle, decided on, because this is Kyle's show. All right, this is Kyle's show. But he takes an awful lot of good advice from a GM who is earning respect with one trade The Christian McCaffrey trade is one of the biggest game-changing, fortune-changing, franchise-changing trades I have ever seen made on a football field. Christian McCaffrey has shown up, and the 49ers are everything but undefeated since that moment. They have been playing some of the best brand of football, but for a handful of games and an injury in an NFC title game, which, again, you don't have to talk about anymore. Don't have to talk about it anymore. That ship has sailed. It passed. It happened. We all know, unfortunately. But if ifs were fifths, we'd all be drunk. So I don't want to hear another if Purdy had been available ever again. I really don't. I don't want to hear it. What matters, what absolutely matters, is how good they were today. How good they were today, and how good they were today does not predicate who they're going to be tomorrow. But you want to know that when the chips are down and you're in a big game and in your hostile environment, you can show up and have a performance like this. This is a lot of self-affirmation. This is an awful lot of feedback. This is the best team in football record-wise getting their teeth kicked in by the 49ers. But for Dom, the security guard, there was not an awful lot going on for the Philadelphia Eagles today. Look, A.J. Brown is a stud. We know that. Jalen Hurts is a stud, and he is. He keeps plays alive. He almost keeps plays alive too long, though. You know, it's to the point where there's a diminishing return on the time that he's holding that ball, and all of a sudden the chances of him making a big play start shrinking, and the chances of a mistake start growing, and that mistake can even materialize in a sack, a fumble. I mean, he's got to learn how to get rid of the ball. One of the best attributes of Brock Purdy's development from his first season into his second season is that even with a surgically stunted offseason, he was learning how to play quarterback, because one of the things that Brock does better this year than last year is get rid of the ball, live to fight another down. When the Niners lived to fight another down, they won that down more often than not. Anything that wasn't an early down in that first quarter was a down that they pretty much did well on for the rest of this game. There weren't an awful lot of negative plays beyond the first quarter for the 49ers. A couple of run stuffs. Fletcher Cox made a few good plays. Look, the Eagles, here's the thing. The Eagles are a lot better than they showed today. I mean, if we're going to be, reasonable about everything, let's be reasonable about who the Eagles are. The reason why this team and this win feels so good for the 49ers is because the Eagles are that good. That's a really good football team that the 49ers just took apart. And they did. They took them apart. 1,300 in the room. Thank you for being here. If all 1,300 of you hit that like button, whoo-wee, I can't even imagine what would happen. I'm pretty sure YouTube explodes at that point. So go ahead and just see if it explodes. Again, this has been a week where our numbers are growing exponentially. As a matter of fact, we just crossed over to 11,700 subscribers. So thank you very, very much. Roberto Menga says the national media will make excuses for the Eagles' loss. What would they be? What are those excuses? I mean, go ahead, offer them up. If you're an Eagles fan and you wanted to make an excuse, what is it? I don't think there's a lot of excuses to make. There's not a lot of bad officiating to duck behind. You can't tell me that Jalen Hurts got knocked out of the game, because he did for a minute, but he also re-entered it. You can't tell me that, this was a defense that had an awful lot of plays off of its legs in the first 2 weeks. And you know what? It did in those last 2 weeks, last two opponents, the Chiefs and the Bills. Did it take starch out of the Eagles? Doesn't matter. Look at how dominant they were early in the game. First super chat that I've seen, never daunted. Nick Wright's going to declare Purdy's not the real deal until he plays an entire game without an offensive line against his own defensive line. Again, you're going to have to move the field goals. You're going to have to do an awful lot of field goal moving in order to talk about, how about this? Good luck if your show tomorrow is planned around talking about what Brock Purdy isn't. If you staked your entire YouTube channel and career on what Brock Purdy isn't, good luck with that. I mean, good luck with all of that. I don't know how you maintain credibility or paychecks or anything. Or an audience. Like, we all got eyes. We all just saw what happened. What I think really what happens is an awful lot of East Coast media, and let's face it, media still comes from the East more than it does from the West. And an awful lot of East Coast media doesn't see any West Coast football but for the highlight package or the red zone that they're watching. So I don't think a lot of these guys are watching enough of Brock Purdy to contemplate what is really going on with him. And what is going on with Brock Purdy is this kid's a fucking quarterback, and he's going to the Pro Bowl, and he is unbelievable. That's who he is. Brock Purdy might be, but for Jalen Hurts, the best quarterback in the NFC. That's who he is. Didn't like it, didn't pick him, didn't draft him, didn't anoint him, didn't show up with a preconceived notion of who he might be. Doesn't matter. Who he is more important than who anyone thinks he is. Who he is the guy burning down the football field just about every time he plays. J Mella 13, Philly fans, F your mama, your grandmama. Okay, I'm glad you paid me to say that because, again, we do a lot on this channel. Having to talk about grandmas is really not one of them, but today we will allow it, absolutely. This says, nothing to add. Keep up the great work, Damon. Loving the chat family. Matt in the 268. Again, I'm glad you found it. You're amongst friends, and you're amongst 1,400. Oh, my gosh. I've never had 1,400 people, I think, listen to a radio show in one time. Because remember, every single rating you've ever heard about in radio was a lie. Every single rating that you see on YouTube is an actual human being showing up and clicking, yes, let's do this, let's do that. So we got, how about this? We got new guys, new Werewolves of Sanger saying, smash the like, grow the channel. Werewolves, I've never even seen you, and you're already in here rooting for me. Thank you very, very much. Matt asks, wonder if the NFL is going to have a chat with Dom. I mean, you would think so. You would think so. First of all, what is Dom doing on the sideline? What is he doing standing on the white of the chalk of a sideline? Is he protecting the team from the officials? Is he protecting the team from the 49ers? Is he afraid that the Niners are going to come across the field and just start beating up random Eagles? Security, you'd think he should have his entire focus on the crowd or from the bench and behind it. Isn't that where he should be? Why is Dom's fat ass standing on the white of the chalk and shoving an opponent? What is he doing? What is Dom doing shoving an opponent? And Dre Greenlaw, don't take the bait next time. I mean, seriously, between Draymond Green and Dre Greenlaw, guys whose names Dre in the Bay Area are just habitual line steppers. And Dre Greenlaw is good for a hit on the edge of the boundary. That could be a flag in every game this guy plays, every single one of them. But you know what? I'd rather have a dog that I got to reel in than a guy I got to ask to reel it out and let it out. So, Dre Greenlaw, you keep drawing yellow flags as long as the winds follow. Bad ejection, stupid ejection. And again, the Eagles... Do you think that if you went up to Sirianni at the beginning of the game and said, all right, here's the trade that you can make, you're going to lose Dom the fat ass on the sidelines for the starting linebacker of the 49ers? Would you make that trade? Sirianni makes that trade 1,000 out of 1,000 times. Sorry, Dom. I don't care how good your recommendations of restaurants to Kevin Burkhardt are. Another super chat. I'm glad that I found, oh, no, VS, I missed it, but it was a $5 super chat from VS. I really got to get a new streaming service, something that takes the super chats and puts them somewhere where I can truly have time to appreciate them. I thank you all very, very much. Missing a super chat is something I never want to do. We get to Sammy Stromboli. If there's anyone who is going to be on side of Dom, it's Sammy Stromboli. Let's find out. The pulping of the Eagles has not softened my hate for the Eagles. I hate them even more. They're on my 90s Cowboys and Russell Wilson Seahawk list. Okay, so obviously he's not rooting for the Eagles. But thank you, Sammy Stromboli. And thank you very much. Appreciate it. Again, subscribe, like, do the damn thing. If I could get to 12,000 tonight, oh my God, my wife is going to give me a high five when I get upstairs. And I would love a high five from the wife a little bit later on. And if you're saying, Damon, is high five euphemism for something a little more, something that could be even more fun?
Pound it, pound it, pound it, pound it.
No, it's probably just a high five. Look, it's a big win. Big win for the 49ers out there. We got Caesar dropping a sticker, a super sticker. Sheba dog gift a large bone, bowing respectfully. Oh, that's the name of the sticker. Okay, so thank you very, very much. See, I got to get one that shows stickers, but I'm glad the Sheba dog's in the house. $1.99, that goes right in the ganja jar right behind me, the J.J. Raider Memorial Ganja Jar. J.J. Raider is still with us in spirit, mind, and body, too, so it really shouldn't be called Memorial. Greenlaw is the enforcer. Innovative films. He's the kind of guy you want to go to war with every single time you're going to war. That's who Dre Greenlaw is. I'll take a player who makes the mistakes that he makes over players who aren't half as nasty as he is, but never draw penalties. Guy named Oh No says Hurts sucks. Oh no, he doesn't. Hurts does not suck. Not even close to it. He is fantastic. But today, he was doing everything he could to extend plays. He was under pressure or he was avoiding pressure. He was never comfortable. That's for sure. He was not comfortable today. Bro, Deebo took screens to the house. Are you kidding me? That was all Deebo, not Purdy. You must be new here, Kentucky Jones. And let me tell you right now, folks in Kentucky don't know shit about college basketball without cheating and certainly know even less about football. Let me explain it to you, Kentucky. That's the offense. That's the offense. That's it. That's what he does. And if you're saying that all Brock Purdy does is dink and dunk, he leads the NFL in completion percentage and yards per completion. So being able to do both of that means you trying to make a statement that Deebo took those passes to the house and use that to disparage Brock Purdy means you don't know what it is you're talking about. That's the offense. That's the plan. That's the plan that just whooped the Eagles' ass today. That's what that is. Larry. D. Bruce better than AM radio. Come on. Better than AM radio, better than CD players, better than 8-tracks, better than reel-to-reel, better than Laserdisc. Give me some time. I'll be better than Netflix. Not quite there yet, but I'm working on it. Absolutely working on it. And you can help me get there by hitting a like, by hitting the subscribe, by supporting my sponsor, Dr. Paul Hughes and Hughes Orthopedics. Man, if you've got yourself a knee, a joint, a shoulder that's screaming at you, orthopedicsurgeries.com to see what Dr. Paul Hughes can do to help you avoid an orthopedic surgery. Christopher Johnson says, Dom looks like a Sopranos extra. He did. Look, we're not going to go ahead and, make fun of Italians here. But if you had a stereotype of a guy named Dom in Philadelphia, he fit it perfectly. He did. And you know what I like? Good for Dom. Dom had a better day than most Philadelphia Eagles. He did more to affect the outcome of this game than most Eagles did. Not Dom, but Don Parrish, urging all you good folks to hit that like button. Oh, LT, noticed that Purdue lost at Northwestern. I noticed the same thing. Thank you very much, LT. Let's get back to the 49ers. But man, it was an absolute total ass kicking for the 49ers, who you want to know where they really ran this game? They won this game on the ground. They won this game by running the ball 146 yards while holding the Eagles to only 46 yards rushing. Once again, for the umpteenth game in a row, the 49ers deny an opposing running back going over 100 yards. They usually spend most of their weekends denying an entire backfield 100 yards rushing. And today, they were very, very good against the run. That's where so much of this game was decided. 456 yards of offense for the 49ers, 333 for the Eagles. Deebo was awesome today. Deebo Samuel was absolutely awesome at his full strength, at full nasty, at full. This guy's going to be a handful for you all afternoon long. Deebo Samuel today, not just one, not just two, but with 3 touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns where his legs did an awful lot of the hard work. And it's just, let me tell you, Kyle had an unbelievable day getting the matchups he was looking for with either Kittle or Deebo or Christian McCaffrey on a linebacker, on a safety that he deemed too slow to keep up with my weapon. And Kyle got what he needed in terms of one-on-one matchups, and that is all predetermined by Kyle with pre-snap, with all that movement out there. It was a great day for Shanahan's play calling. As soon as that first quarter ended anyways, everything started to open up. But Deebo Samuel this afternoon had himself 3 carries for 22 yards and a touchdown, a long run of 14 for Deebo. He had 4 catches on 4 targets, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, a long 48, and one right after the other, more mannish than the other. Deebo Samuel. That might be his best game in a 49ers uniform. And what I love is that when the punches start coming, they usually come in bunches. And Deebo just had a monster game against the Seahawks. Seahawks are on the schedule next. It felt like Deebo slow played himself into the season a little bit. Fred whipped out the calculator and has noticed that the 49ers have beaten the Cowboys and Eagles by 55 points. Hey, what do you know? That's pretty good. Lester, the San Jose, the skeptic tank. Not the dominance I expected, but I'll take it. I don't know what more than what you wanted, Lester. I mean, you are judging on a very harsh sliding scale. If you want more than that, they just went into Philadelphia and won 42-19, brother. 42-19. Diamador Lenore out there at the very end of the game delivering woo hits. He put the Mama Chewbacca. He put the stink on Swift out there, and that was when, long after maximum football had been achieved.
Maximum!
Some serious maximum football. Again, the single best player the Eagles had today is maybe Dom, the security guard. Maybe Dom. VIP Patel, keep it up, Damon. What a masterpiece today by the Niners and the secondary. They held their own. No deep shots by Hurts. I'll tell you, the sacks that you saw today were coverage sacks. Those are some serious legs out there that the secondary was flexing, just keeping up with guys, just shadowing dudes wherever they went. And that was more than we have seen from this 49er secondary, probably in any other game. And you know what's also something that you didn't expect? You probably expected Jalen Hurts to get sacked a couple of times. But who would be the guy with those couple of sacks? Javon Kinlaw with 2 sacks, his first 2 sacks since the 2020 NFL season. It has been a slow, long climb back to mattering for Javon Kinlaw with knees problems. And look, when you're that big and you got problems with your base, I don't mean the bass in your voice, I mean your legs, your trunk, it's going to be an uphill climb. He is finally right and healthy again, and Javon Kinlaw, I mean, had his most productive day as a member of the 49ers this afternoon. Marvin Rose says, man, Nick Wright and Stephen A. just whining. Yeah, there's going to be some whining going on. The Pirate Monk. Niners beat the other NFC contenders, the Cowboys and the Eagles, by a combined score of 82-29. Not bad. Not bad at all. Again, you can only show up and play the game that you're in. That's it. And when the Niners showed up to play the Cowboys, they were dominant. And when the 49ers today rolled into Philadelphia, they started so poorly. A team that is a front-running team started so poorly that I think that a lot of 49ers fans after that first quarter, and this is, again, not my opinion. Forget about Damon Bruce's opinion of anything. My opinion doesn't matter more than statistics. Statistically, this game got off to the worst start of any game that Kyle Shanahan has ever been the head coach of. It was awful. Where was it? Yeah, the 49ers open with back-to-back 3-and-outs. Minus 6 yards in the opening quarter, the fewest in any quarter of Kyle's career. So there you go. Measurable proof that the worst start of all time was today's start, and they ended up winning 42-19. The Niners don't play a lot of, we'll let you out in front and then come back, catch you, and drag you down football. They are normally, we are just going to get out in front and you're not going to be able to catch up type of a football team. They're front runners. People use that as a disparaging comment. They shouldn't, because it's great to be a front runner. It's great to strangle games early, sit on them. Good night, everybody. That's good football. You're looking for that. You don't want to be in breathless come from behind win after breath. Like, might be more entertaining, might be sexier, might give you more to talk about at the water cooler, but that we brass knuckled these motherfuckers in the first half and hardly had to play a second half. That's what every coach wants. And that's what Kyle gets more often than not. He really does. It speaks to how good of a coach and how good this team is. Today, minus 6 yards in the opening quarter, fewest of any Kyle's career. Christian McCaffrey didn't even touch the football once, and Philadelphia ran 24 plays to the 49ers 6 in the opening quarter of this game. And then after that, it was pin your ears back, all 49ers. They score 6 consecutive times, 6 consecutive touchdown drives for the 49ers. I don't think you can get better than that. I don't think better than that is allowed, to be honest with you. Mike Mann. Thank you, Mike Mann. Dropping 10 bones, saying, I read somewhere that Shanahan likes to show different looks in the first quarter just to see how defenses react and then take them down. Do you think that that's what happened? Look, I've seen a guy draw up a lot of plays that have led to a lot of first quarter points. I think that Kyle's coming out there looking to score on opening drives, not set shit up. He's looking to set up the scoreboard. Look, Eagles came out playing great. Niners came out playing lousy. And when it was all said and done, when it was over and done, the 49ers whipped the Eagles' asses. I mean, manhandled them in more instances than not, more matchups than not. Thug Thiesalon. Deebo took so many souls today. R.I.P. Cougar Rebel. That's my bike, punk. Let me tell you, they're going to be putting respect on Deebo's name in Philadelphia tomorrow. I know that they tried to go ahead and seriously, tell you that Deebo was talking out of school or out of turn or whatever. Look, I didn't think there was anything controversial saying, it really stinks that our starting quarterback went down on the first drive of an NFC title game. I wouldn't think that needed to be explained away. I don't even think that that's any element of crying. It's just a statement of fact. It totally sucks that when you go to war, they take your gun from you. You're going to have trouble winning that fight. And the Niners, what? They said it and what? They're crybabies? Or are they observing reality? Again, when Jalen Hurts went into that medical tent, the one thing I thought of is, well, it's a good thing that nobody in Philadelphia believes that you need a starting quarterback in a big game. Maybe that's the whole Nick Foles Super Bowl situation. You won a Super Bowl with the backup. You all of a sudden you're a city that believes starting quarterbacks in big games don't matter. Well, they do. They do. New Lion says, hold on, let me get this up here. New Lion says, Jair Brown is a future Pro Bowl bound safety. Well, hold on. Maybe not, I don't know about that. There were a couple times where he gave up some big plays, but he's new, man. I mean, that's the thing. He's brand new. He's been out there for a handful of snaps in the entirety of a rookie season, and he got thrown in. He got thrown into this game when Talanoa Hufanga got thrown out of the season with a knee surgery. And I think he's appointed himself well. I think he's appointed himself real well. But I don't know about any Pro Bowl. How about this? Just play well for the rest of this year. That'd be great. Again, lots of people, over 1,000 in the room. Thank you for being here. I hope you're hitting subscribe. I hope you're hitting like. Dom in Philadelphia. Dude. I mean, free lunch for Dom, no matter where he goes. You know, that guy's eating steak and broccoli Rob sandwiches no matter where he goes. Good for him. But I don't understand how the NFL doesn't suspend him in some sort of way, how the Eagles don't have to internally suspend him in some sort of way. Dre Greenlaw is not going to be suspended for anything, but Dom should be. In what world does a member of the other team's sideline get to stand on the chalk and shove opponents? That's what Dom did. That's what Dom did. You can't do that. You can't do that. That is Bush League. That can't happen. Again, 6 consecutive scoring drives. Tom Sawyer. You saw that? You saw that too, Tom? It's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Drew putting 5 bones in the ganja jar, saying congrats on the 11K. Thank you very, very much. 49ers offensive linemen got it going when they started running some fast developing plays, then running the camel around, and then the running game came around. I don't know where I got the word camel there. Sorry. Dominance. They outran the Eagles by 100 yards. You know, 49ers won this game with their legs, with their offense. Their offense just overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. Jeffrey, who's been around for a while, says, Damon, I'm never going to forget your eulogy of Eddie Van Halen. Just saying. Well, thank you very much. I don't even remember my eulogy of Eddie Van Halen, other than to say that rock and roll lost an absolute badass that day. We are at 11,801 subscribers. Thank you very, very much for hitting subscribe, for hitting like, for supporting this channel. Means an awful lot. Again, if you're new here, you think we're dangerous right now, and Postgame and Damon has always been dangerous. You give me a night to think about a game. You give me a chance to rewatch a game, make more notes, compile a whole bunch of stats from a whole bunch of different places. Tomorrow, Monday morning, 8 a.m., simulcast on my channel and on the Krug Show. Larry Krueger and I will be hosting 49ers Wake Up, 8 a.m. on Monday, and that is the biggest 49er show in the world. It's actually happening. We dwarf the combined audiences of both sports talk radio stations in town here in San Francisco. So hopefully you'll be choosing 49ers Wake Up tomorrow morning. We are going to have an awful lot to talk about there. We are just getting underway here. I'm telling you, there's an awful lot to talk about in this game. Mike, thank you very much, Mike. $10 in there. Plus worldwide, baby. It's kind of like Pitbull, but with more hair. Thank you very much. Worldwide. Chef A. Boom. Chef A. Thank you very much. Damon, should we change the name to Rock Purdy? The B is silent. Maybe then he'll get some love. Again, one of my theories is that Brock Purdy is the John Cougar Mellencamp of starting quarterbacks. He really is. Nobody thinks John Cougar Mellencamp is cool. Nobody pimps John Cougar Mellencamp. Nobody walks around wearing like a John Cougar Mellencamp tour t-shirt. Nobody's like, hey man, I got a song to play for you. Listen to this, man. This shit is hot. And then it puts play and it's John Cougar Mellencamp. And then you're like, oh, how many albums has he sold worldwide? He's in the Songwriter and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And by the way, I don't even like John Cougar Mellencamp, but I happen to know the words to almost every single song that's ever been on the radio that he's put out. And then all of a sudden you got to start wrapping your mind like, dude, maybe it's time to give John Cougar Mellencamp his due. This guy's pretty freaking good. And that's who Brock Purdy is. He was never cool. He was never picked to be cool. No, none of the cool kids ever said, you know what's going to be cool? Rooting for Brock Purdy someday. So the cool kids never had him at the cool kid lunch table, and they are really slow when it comes to kicking out a chair for him, saying, sit on down because you belong here. Brock Purdy has muscled his way into the conversation of who's a really good quarterback in this league, and he's muscling his way into the conversation of MVP. Most valuable Purdy, he's already that. I mean, you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of what do you determine as value? How about the measurably, statistically most efficient quarterback who comes with a paycheck that is so small it doesn't even count against the cap? If that's not value, what the fuck is? What is value of the guy is your statistical quarterbacking leader and he makes $800,000 a year? There are parking. Dom, the security guard, probably makes more money than Brock Purdy. I wonder what Dom's getting paid. They'd give him a raise after today. He's one of the Eagles' best players. Lester with a little bit of a correction. No, Damon, I didn't expect the Niners to dominate. I thought it was going to be much closer. That's yeah. I think a lot of people did. A lot of people thought that this was going to be much, much closer. Lenore was a hit stick at the end of that game, wasn't he, Darren? He put Swift on his ass. Killaminga, 8:31. F the Eagles and radio stations. Love you, dog. Deebo's laughing his ass off right now. Oh, there's no doubt. Who's going to have a better flight home than Deebo Samuel? Who's going to have he might just steal somebody's bike and pedal home. That's how big of a game Deebo had today. Brian Shapiro says, Brock was a stud. I'm guessing he's going with it, Iowa State. He had a combined score of 55, a combined score of 5.5. Loser, Shanahan creates plays like a swarm of hornets. Brock doesn't wing it. Again, Shanahan's got the guy that he wants. Shanahan's got a guy that will run his offense the way that he wants it run. And you look at the results. What did the Niners score over 35 for the how manyth time today this season? How many times have they been there? Jeff A. wants to know, did they play Robert Beal Jr.? No, he was an inactive for this game. He was not dressed for the game. I was kind of looking for him, too. I think we are going to see him before the season's over. Brian, by the way, ropes back around, just drops a 10 spot in there. Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate that. Ganja jar filling up. A 5 spot from Bebop 88. Philly got their teeth pushed in today. Yeah, they did. Damon, can you share your experience with bitch-ass Philly fans? I'm sure you dealt more when you were in Ohio. Well, I wasn't in Ohio long enough. But look, I'm going to tell you about Philadelphia fans. They're the bad guys. They don't want you to feel welcome in their house or in their city for the most part. It is not a warm, embracing, welcoming fan base. It's very Philadelphia. It's who they are, and I respect them. I do. Philadelphia is a mad, insane, borderline, certifiably crazy sports town, and I love it. But it's to the point where it's a little unhealthy at times. I mean, there's like a too much of a hands-off approach to sports sometimes out here in San Francisco. There's too much of a hands-on approach in Philadelphia, where there are some fans who literally transfer successive teams directly onto their own lives, and that's how their lives are defined. It's insane, but I respect it. I do. I would rather someone be too passionate than dispassionate. So there you go, Anthony. Again, thank you, Bebop. Thank you very much to to Brian as well. I'm glad we got those 2 super chats in there. Go ahead and hit that like button, boys and girls. And again, if you got bone on bone, right? Let's say you are walking around and you got a sore knee, a sore ankle. You have been recommended even by a surgeon to maybe have surgery, partial knee replacement, shoulder replacement. What you got to do is contact Dr. Paul Hughes. And if you are in the Bay Area, he is in Burlingame. You go to orthopedicsurgeries.com, and Dr. Paul Hughes has a remedy that he has used on me. I'm not telling you about what he might be able to do. I'm telling you what he did to me. He took a knee that needed a knee replacement, and in one afternoon of pain-free cellular replacement therapy, my knee feels like it is 15 years younger, 20 years younger. No more pain walking up the steps. When I bend down to pick up Ozzy and I'm like holding him, it's not like my knee's barking at me anymore. When I get it down on my hands and knees to play with my kids, it's easier to do thanks to Dr. Paul Hughes. Go ahead, orthopedicsurgeries.com. His number is on the crawl. His email is on the crawl. Contact him. And I thank him so much for sponsoring the show. It means an awful, awful lot. Great to have him in the mix, and it's seriously great to have my knee back. Rock Eastwood, a regular, says secondary needs its flowers. Quarterback had all day on way too many plays, but downfield coverage was solid, and it was. It was a very good day for the secondary, and it was a day where the Eagles' offensive line was allowed to do an awful lot of grabbing and holding of Chase Young, Hargrave, and Bosa, but not complaining, right? I mean, when you win a game 42-19, luckily you don't need to complain about officials. And officials, look, they let these players play today. There were a few other plays where the Niners could have picked up PI calls. I thought even one of them in an end zone, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I thought for the most part, the officials kept their hands to themselves. Dom didn't keep his hands to himself, but the officials kept their hands to themselves, kept their hands off their handkerchiefs, and let these teams put their hands on each other. Got some manly hands out there going on each other. That was a rough game. That was a hard-hitting, nasty football game, and the Niners absolutely, thoroughly, unequivocally kicked the Eagles' asses and beat them up. Beat them up. Mike Green, Damon, you're a punk. Yeah, man, punk as fuck. Oh, I think you mean it as an insult. Okay, that's cool. Just good to have you in here. Thanks so much. Hit like and subscribe on the way out. We got Aiden Curry. Thoughts on the Dre Greenlaw ejection? We've been talking about it all show. It was ridiculous. Again, Dom the security guard. What is it? What are his feet doing on the white chalk? Why is Dom's hand on anything but a meatball sandwich? Why is Dom's hand on Dre Greenlaw's jersey? And it was there first before Dre Greenlaw's fist came close to anyone's face or he's pointing at a player or anything. When does another team security guard get to make physical contact while a game is underway with an opposing player? Where in the Lincoln Financial Field handbook does it say that Dom is a queen on the chessboard, can move in any direction and affect any player or outcome that he wants? It's insane to me. What the hell is that? I thought Dre Greenlaw 1,000% deserved his PI call, or his not PI, but his personal foul. And it was on the edge. You could have given him the benefit of the doubt, but Dre Greenlaw lives to pick up sideline personal fouls. That's who he is. But the ejection was ridiculous. I thought it was total garbage. I thought it was a garbage ejection. We're almost through an hour here. Little Postgame and Damon brought to you by Hughes Orthopedics. Thank you very much for being here. It's great to have you. Drop a like. Things that I can't believe I have to say in my life now. Hit like and hit subscribe. But there you go. That's the world I'm living in. And it's great to be in this world. I think this is the strongest version of my show that can be offered anywhere. So people have been responding to it an awful lot. We've seen our subscriber count grow by thousands in just the last 72 hours. And I thank you all very, very much. It was like one radio station went out of its way to drive their audience to me this week with some of the decisions that were made in local radio here in the Bay. Steve wants to know again, why in the hell did Dre Greenlaw get ejected? It was the refs. Poor and simple. That damn asshole was trying to rail up the nine. Look, here's the thing. For a minute there, Dom did his job. Dom fired up the whole stadium. He fired up the Eagles, but he also fired up Deebo Samuel. And I'm telling you right now that when Deebo, it isn't just the play of the game. It might be the play of the year for the 49ers because it's the play that took oh no, the Eagles could be climbing back into this game and changed everything. When Deebo, it's the answer touchdown of the season. 49ers had just given up a Dom the security guard touchdown. And what are you going to do? You answer with the biggest answer touchdown maybe we've seen in any game all year long. Deebo with a 48-yard touchdown, his legs doing all the work on one of the more manly touchdowns of a very manly career. So when it all comes Dom to it, screw Dom. Sporticus says the talking heads are going to be trying to put Humpty Dumpty back together again tomorrow. By the way, neither King's horses nor the King's men are going to be able to do that. Thank you very, very much for going Humpty Dumpty on us. I like that. Sporticus, an old school sports phone caller. Carter. Is it Mr. Cartier 7? In 4 games, we've only given up 4 offensive touchdowns. That's big dog shit. Yeah, look, there was a portion of this game where the 49ers, who didn't give up a first half touchdown, there was a portion of this game where the 49ers hadn't allowed a touchdown to an opposing offense in almost 7 full quarters. Like they didn't allow a single offensive touchdown to the Seahawks in that entire game on Thanksgiving. They didn't allow an offensive touchdown to the Eagles in the first half of this game. And you got to go all the way back to the first minute of the fourth quarter of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game to find the last offensive touchdown that the 49ers gave up until Jalen Hurts did a brotherly shove 2 times in a row and stepped over the pile and walked into the end zone on the second attempt of that, the brotherly shove. But that was the first offensive touchdown given up by the 49ers defense since the fourth quarter of the Buccaneers game. They've been on one. And I'll tell you, when the 49ers defense is playing like this and then the offense is dropping 42 points, that's going to be curtains on just about anybody. I don't know if anybody's going to beat the 49ers if the Niners are putting 42 points on the board. You had the Eagles booing their own team going into the locker room. Joe Larinaga says, Damon, are you worried about the consistent Dre Greenlaw personal fouls? I mean, obviously, you don't want one in a big game. You don't want more of them. You'd like him to learn from these mistakes. But the last thing I ever want to do is turn Dre Greenlaw into anything other than the heat-seeking missile that he is. You know, they were even talking about it in this game. Greg Olson was talking about how Fred Warner looks at Dre Greenlaw and just says, nobody hits like this guy in this league. Except for maybe Diamador Lenore, who absolutely cleated Swift at the end of this game. But I would rather try to reel Dre Greenlaw in than trying to let a more passive player out. I think it's the cost of doing business. I do. And I'd rather be in the Dre Greenlaw business than in business with a lesser player. Dizzy Kincaid Good show. Subbed. Well, thank you very much, Dizzy. I appreciate that. Been around the block once or twice. New here to YouTube, and I've been loving it. I really have. And I'm really proud and happy with the response that we've gotten. 11,800 subscribers now. Plus. I like it. Thank you. Another super chat here from Matt saying, Niners fans living in Vikings country, going to have a good laugh at work on Monday. If you're a Niner fan, you're walking into work on Monday like Vince McMahon coming down the freaking ramp at a WrestleMania. I mean, you got all the hips and elbows and knees moving. You're feeling really good. You're feeling really good. Again, Jack and Diane, Golden State, Lakota. I'm telling you, man, nobody wants to give John Cougar Mellencamp any flowers. No one's ever going to call John cool. But you know every goddamn word to that stupid song, don't you? It's funny. If Brock Purdy was replaced by Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers had all these advanced metrics on his side, everyone would be screaming, this guy's the MVP again. Got to give it to Aaron again. When Aaron plays this well, this efficiently, he is the most valuable player in the league. But nope, those numbers aren't attached to Aaron Rodgers. They're attached to Brock Purdy, who no one even wanted in the NFL in the first place. Brock Purdy annihilates all these hot take artists' hot takes. Now, how important the draft is and how much more they know about anybody than anybody else analyzing this draft. And I'm telling you right now, this guy is value, and you got to take it. Nobody even bothered to use the words Brock Purdy except the Niners when they went to the podium with the last pick in the draft. It's so easy to bet against Brock Purdy. Trying to, explain to anyone how he wasn't supposed to be here. It takes no effort at all. It takes no effort at all to bet against Brock Purdy. It's the easiest bet in the house. Would you admit you're losing the bet if you keep on betting against him now? If Brock Purdy looked like, talked like, acted like Patrick Mahomes and had all these, Allstate commercials with his tight end and was dating Taylor Swift, Brock Purdy would be the most popular quarterback in this league. You wouldn't hear anybody on any show trying to tell you, no, it's just an illusion, just a situation that he's in. No, how about this? How many last pick in the drafts have ever been in a situation where they've done anything, much less led the league in all sorts of important categories on a team that looks like it could go to and win the Super Bowl based on how good they were today alone? Nobody goes into Philadelphia and wins, much less whips the Eagles' ass. But that's what they did. They kicked the Eagles' ass today. Absolutely kicked the Eagles' ass. Best name I've seen in here, Chad Farthouse. Mr. Farthouse. Bitch slapped. Yeah, the Eagles got their beaks punched. Totally got their beaks punched in. Totally housed. Steve says, to be truthful, I've stated if close, the Eagles win. If it's a blowout, the Niners win. A blowout means the refs could not determine the game. I didn't expect them to win like this. I've been saying I think the Niners can win this game, but they're going to have to go in and do it before I assume anything. They won so convincingly today. I think for the rest of this year, I'm just going to assume that the 49ers can win the Super Bowl. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm not trying to be cocky. I didn't grow up a 49er fan. I just cover the team because I've lived here for the better part of 20 years, and I've covered this team for the better part of 20 years. And I'm going to tell you, I haven't seen any single team that I've covered in a 49er uniform score 6 touchdowns on 6 consecutive drives against one of the best opponents in the league. until I saw it today with my own two eyes. 6-1 Niners. Look, 42-19 with no turnovers from the defense. That's an impressive performance by the offense. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Grateful Red, 72. Here's something for the cannabis jar, Damon. Keep on trucking. Got my chips cashed in. Thank you very much. It's going in the ganja jar. Going right in there. Cake the take. Dr. Hughes, 10 for 10. How about that? Dr. Hughes, 10 out of 10. My man here's been fixed by Dr. Hughes. Dude, he gets that little centrifuge going. He spins those cells, puts them back in your knee. Oh, my God, it works. This was a Shanahan's day to change things up on the fly. Can't wait. Can't wait to hear the East Coast analysis tomorrow. Yeah, it should be fun. Purdy with a passer rating of 148. Hurts was 85. Again, passer rating, I don't even know how you calculate any of that. I have no idea. Here's what I do know. That guy threw 4 touchdowns, and he ran the offense perfectly, and he does everything that his offensive coach asked him to do, and he's doing it behind a medium executing offensive line in terms of pass protection. Second half of medium, by the way. It's a mid-offensive line. Very good run blocking, pass blocking, and Brock Purdy is carving this league up like a turkey. Now we're getting aggressive. Mark Persante, who, by the way, is a great guy to go to a fish show with. Mark Persante dropping $100 in the super chat. Thank you so much, Mark. Very, very generous of you. Very, very nice. Mark with the top rope move. Leslie, who's in Mexico, by the way. Leslie's on vacation in Mexico. She hasn't missed a show. She reports to duty in the chat room whenever the channel goes on the air. That's the kind of loyalty and love we got over here on the Plus. Thank you, Leslie. Wish you could see the chain, or is it chains Deebo's wearing right now at the podium? It almost looks Egyptian. Again, I turned the TV off so you wouldn't have any reflection in the Indiana glassed pennant behind me. I know that can be a little distracting right over my head, so I didn't bother doing that. But Leslie, Deebo should wear as many chains as the guy who's in the commercial where the Parmesan cheese doesn't stop. He's like, say when. So if Deebo Samuel wants to drown in gold chains today, let him. And then for his tombstone, just put in the boom box that he carries and then write, to the Eagles, here lies the dude under all these gold chains who straight up fucking mollywopped you today. Deebo was awesome. 3 touchdown afternoon for Deebo Samuel. Brandon Carpenter, game respects game. Well, thank you very much. If that was about me or the night, I don't know. But I agree. Game certainly recognizes game. And the 49ers got to be recognized for playing one of the best, most consequential football games of the entire year this Sunday evening in Philadelphia. What a flight they're going to have back to the Bay Area. Michael Walsh. Thank you very much, Michael, for the super chat. 5 bones going in the ganja jar. Deebo showed up looking like the 6th member of Judas Priest and absolutely backed it up. He's in the painkiller. All right. I didn't think we were going to get any Judas Priest references today. Giant Niner fan says, Damon, I was a season ticket holder at the Stick for 25 years. The Eagles fans ain't got shit on us. Niners fans are nuts, man. Niners fans take over opposing stadiums in a way that reminds me of really nothing else. Niners fans travel, and there were more dots of red in the link today than I ever imagined there would be, to the point where it looked like a Christmas card where everyone's wearing red and green. I mean, it looked like the Eagles were sending out a Christmas card. But they're not sending out a Christmas card. You got Niners fans sending a whole bunch of Eagles fans to the shopping center because they bought their tickets. I mean, there was an awful lot of red in the link. And then when the game was over, there wasn't an awful lot of green in there. People started leaving for the exits with about 10 minutes left to play. It was like somebody pulled a fire alarm. So it was just an ass kicking of the first degree. You know, we'll have a little bit more time to get into the nuts and bolts of the statistics when I get a little time to sit down and start putting them together and start looking at the Niners post-game report that they send to media members and what streaks are alive and what's going on. But I invite you to be at right here on YouTube at 8 a.m. Monday. Damon Bruce, Larry Krueger, 49ers Wake Up simulcast on both of our channels, and it's going to be a monster. So much to talk about. What I liked in this game, I mean, 6 straight touchdown drives after the worst first quarter of the Kyle Shanahan era. Didn't have that one today, but it happened. The fact that it was only 6-0 in this game when it could have easily been 14-0 or 10-0 in this game after the Niners took 2 totally limp-wristed, ineffectual 3-and-outs, which is something you never see them do to start a game with. Never. Had it been 14-0, it was curtains. At 10-0, you're in trouble. But 6-0, like no problem. And in a weird, stupid way, even though you haven't done a damn thing, you're winning the game. Because the Eagles just dominated an entire quarter. Possessed the ball for all of it, marched up and down the field for all of it, and only have 6 points to show for it? Like, that's a moment where the 49ers were winning this game. The 49ers secondary was out there having a great game this afternoon. Love what I saw out of the secondary. As responsible for coverage sacks as any secondary's been in any game that it's played. Hurts had almost too much time at times. And again, the clock of diminishing returns, where he's going to make something good happen, starts to become something bad is about to happen. And the Niners were able to do that. And then the Deebo touchdown after the Dom, the security guard, ignited the stadium touchdown. It's one of the biggest answers of the entire year. And it's one of the biggest plays of Deebo Samuel's career. And he made 3 different plays that got him into the end zone in Philadelphia. But one play in particular, the answer, the Dom, the security guard touchdown screen that went for 48 yards, is some of the more manly, well-timed, shut up this stadium touchdowning you're ever going to see in your entire football life. That was seriously big boy football. What I didn't like, again, if you had asked me, what do you want to bet on Christian McCaffrey having at least half a carry in the first quarter? Over or under? I would have bet my children. I would have bet my mortgage. I would have bet my beautiful wife. I would have bet everything that Christian McCaffrey is going to touch the ball in the first quarter. He didn't. Don't like that. Didn't come back to haunt the Niners, but it was, I think, at the center of their slow start. I thought that a 3rd and 19 by Devontae Smith when he picked it up on a screen pass, there were too many missed tackles there. I thought that was a Jair Brown missed tackle. Didn't like that. And I wrote down at the time, you cannot waste chances to get off the field against this Philadelphia team. Again, didn't like the play. Didn't really haunt the Niners when when it all came out of the oven. And I didn't like the fact that Ronnie Bell fumbled a punt. Again, that could have been a momentum swing that the Eagles needed right when they needed it. Now that ball went right out of bounds, thank goodness, but Ray McLeod was inactive today. Ronnie Bell got an opportunity to return punts. He did nothing really with that opportunity. You saw Deebo was on kick return. So the Niners are looking for answers in their special teams game with Ray McLeod being sidelined. I wanted Ronnie Bell to do more than he did today. And he made the kind of mistake that would have cordially invited the Eagles back into this game had that ball bounced anywhere other than out of bounds. Didn't like that. But again, very few complaints on a day that outside the first quarter was full of an overwhelming amount of success. 6 consecutive touchdowns against a good defense. 6 consecutive touchdowns against a good defense in their home stadium. 6 consecutive touchdowns against a defense in their home stadium who had not lost at home, who is 10-1, who is a bully in its own right. And the 49ers just out-bullied the bully. Game and Money TV. So much yak today. Hennessy sponsored Deebo. That's good. Thank you. Doug D. Dude, I love it. Mike, Eagles fans have to be the most pathetic people in the country. I don't know about that. Overly passionate, maybe. That's a better way to describe it, maybe. I don't know. Look, you don't have to apologize for disliking anyone when you kick their ass that loudly. Just subscribed. Words of wisdom. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will try to keep up the good work just for you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What else we got? Oh, Postman in Capitola. Oy. Hey, we're blowing up. At one point today, earlier in the show, my goodness, we had like 1,400 people in the room. I'd never seen that number so big. Now we're sitting around 600. It is really good to still have all of you here. Thank you. It's an incredible community of people who, for the most part, don't even acknowledge the nonsense of trolls when they come into the chat. This is an adult conversation between people who are using, actual data points and observable reality to form whatever they want to talk about, not just, well, I feel this way. Here's the way I feel about something, so I'm going to use that to define how I talk about it. Idiots. Doesn't matter how you feel. Doesn't matter how you feel about Brock Purdy or the Niners or Kyle. What they did today trumps anybody's feelings. They took the team with the best record in football and destroyed them. But for a security guard, it's an absolute ass kicking of the first degree. Like, that should have been 42. So 19 minus 7 is what? 12? Yeah. That could have been 42-12. 42-12. Indiana Jim says, Damon, you got to check on John Kincaid, see how he's doing. I'm going to tell you how John Kincaid's doing. I texted him in the middle of the game. I said, if not for Dom, you guys got nothing going for you today. Niners are kicking your ass. Alex in Atlanta says, Damon, you missed the $100 super chat. No, we did not. No, we did not. Saw Mark Persante slip that in. Damon, is Ambry Thomas the comeback player of the team? Man, Ambry Thomas was an afterthought earlier on the season, but he has taken over for Isaiah Oliver, and the secondary's been better for having done that. There is no doubt. He's been really, really good. Really good. Super Vega asks for Maximum Football. You can get one of those today. Golden Random Lens says, tomorrow morning, the 49ers are going to put up a job posting, head of security requirements, willing to work on the sideline to engage the opposing team, right? I mean, how is Dom? I don't want anybody to get fired, right? I don't need to be fired, but he can't ever be in a situation where you're going to do that again. What is a team employee who is not involved in the game standing on the chalk, putting his hands on opposing players. What is going on? Again, Postman is excited.
Oy, oy, oy!
Dropping 42 on Dallas, then again on Feely has me feeling pretty good. It should. You should be feeling really good. No doubt. Trey Bohr 5, D. Bruce speaks real to sports. Always speaking the truth. Thank you. We try. We ain't perfect over here, but we're not making shit up. There are a lot of people who are just like, well, I'm gonna try to be controversial, so I'm gonna just make a lot of things up. Polyboy E, we got you, Bruce. I tell you, I feel it. This is the week where I've literally felt the channel grow, physically felt it grow. So I thank you very, very much. We're doing things like getting the most amount of people to a live show than ever before, most amount of views over a singular day, over a weekend, over a 72-hour period. Again, we just crossed 10,000 subs, and we are going to be at 12,000. Hopefully, by sometime tomorrow, we're about 100. We're exactly 151 subscribers away from 12,000. We're sitting here at 11,849. Just for the 49ers. So thank you very much. Cutman says, man, where is he? Let me bring him up here. I forgot how much I miss real sports talk. Glad we're reunited, Damon. I'm here for all of it now. Cutman, welcome. It's good to have you back, man. For a lot of people who just walked away from sports talk radio, and that's an awful lot of people, didn't know that I was on YouTube until this week. It is wonderful to have you here. Hit a like, hit a subscribe, hit notify, and that way you're not going to have to miss any elements that we do, any videos that are put up. You're not going to have to miss 49ers Wake Up, which is happening with Larry Krueger, 8 a.m. Monday morning, simulcast on my channel and his. Right now, though, you're watching a little Postgame and Damon brought to you by Dr. Paul Hughes and Hughes Orthopedics. Again, avoid surgery. Do not schedule surgery, either partial or complete, hip, knee, ankle, shoulder, elbow. Don't go in for orthopedic surgery until you've talked to Dr. Paul Hughes. Go ahead and get a consultation. See if his cellular replacement therapy is right for you. It was right for me. He took a little fat out of my love handles, which was easy to find. You didn't have to look hard for the fat of the love handle. I was like, Doc, can you get a little off the neck here? Reduce the waddle a little bit? He's like, you don't want that. So we went into the love handle, got the whole bunch of fat, put it in the centrifuge, spun that mother around like a freaking top, like a tornado. Get all that juicy bits of DNA. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But then he puts it back into your knee. And after being sore for 24 hours, my knees felt like they had been washed in the fountain of youth. I can get on my knees to play with my 4-year-old and my 2-year-old. I can walk up and down the stairs carrying groceries or bags of whatever, suitcases, and my knees aren't barking because I got extra poundage on them. That bone-on-bone arthritis, it's like it's gone. Dr. Paul Hughes, 21 years, specializing in stem cell and plasma. This man has worked for the St. Louis Rams, the St. Louis Cardinals, the St. Louis Blues. He has been around sports medicine for decades. He is the real deal. Find out for yourself. Dr. Paul Hughes. Go to orthopedicsurgeries.com. Hop back into the chat. We got no bones and lots of nines after that, saying Nick Wright will once again come up with more excuses why Brock isn't good. Well, Nick Wright's going to have to come up with more excuses to not come on the channel because I'm making that request this week. And I want Nick on the channel talking with me about how he is so wrong about another Bay Area sports-based take. once again. Remember, Nick Wright had to have the entirety of the Golden State Warriors sneak up behind him and stick it in his ear before he realized how good they were. And Brock's about to do the exact same thing. What is this? Come on, Damon is said 42-21. Did I say 4? It's 42-19. If I misspoke, I apologize. Words of wisdom. Eagle, loudmouth fans have been asking for this. Screw you, Eagles. We owned your ass tonight. Swift getting planted by Lenore. Loved it. Oh, dude, he put the Mama Chewbacca on him. Put the Mama Chewbacca right on him. And look, Eagles fans, the whole the weak link here is Brock Purdy. Yeah, 314 yards, an average of 11.6 yards per attempt, or yards per completion, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a rating of 148.8. There you go. That's a words of wisdom for you. Michael says he's got the receipts. He called the ass kicking before the game and had the comment to prove it. I'm telling you, I couldn't believe when the line came out and the 49ers were getting 3. Could have given the 49ers 20 and they would have won by 3 still. Could have given the Eagles 20, pardon me. I mean, 42-19. Mike Antics 19 says everyone will shut up after a Super Bowl win. Look, you can't win the Super Bowl in the month of December. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about the Super Bowl until the Niners are in the playoffs. Then we can start talking about it. There are how many more? 6 more games? 5 more games remaining here now? Yeah, 9, 10, 11, 12. 5 more games. 5 more games is a football lifetime. 5 more games. Got the Seahawks, got the Ravens still on the schedule. There's a lot that could happen. There's so many moving parts and variables on every single play that every player goes through in this league. Your season hangs on an injury at all times. So I don't want to hear a word about what's about to happen. All I know is what has happened and what was done this evening in Philadelphia. The Niners made the statement that if they remain healthy, they can play football with anybody. Anybody. And the chances of them being anything other than the favorite against anybody, I think that ship has sailed. I think the 49ers are going to be favored in every single game they play between now and the Super Bowl, if they reach a Super Bowl. But results are not guaranteed. What is guaranteed is that there are just a ton of reasons to like this team. As they're built, as they're functioning right now, they got the players, they're built well, they're deep, they got the coach. What a day for Kyle. Started terribly, ended with one of his best football thoughts ever. Damon, did you know right now you're kicking the ass of 95.7 the game? I'm probably NK and BRs too. Again, of course I am. I was the most important person ever on that station. They don't have me now, so they'll never be as important as they used to be. Sorry. That's how it goes. That's what happens when you can't afford like actual experience. Hey, maybe we'll just lay off Damon and he'll go away. Or maybe he'll start a YouTube channel and put everybody out of business. Maybe that might happen. How about that? Again, thank you very much for being part of this. You can help change media in the Bay Area forever by liking and subscribing what we're doing over here. Michael, thank you very much, Michael. A little super chat. Does this count as Brock's come from behind win? I mean, sure, we need people to count that, I guess, but no, it's got to be a fourth quarter come from behind in the fourth quarter. Again, they'll just move the field goals. Chris, again, a lot of people who haven't been around here, They're starting to figure it out. Oh, now I can find you again. I don't live in the Bay Area anymore, but there you are, Chris. I'm glad you found me. Please hit like and notify. Thank you very, very much. TS. Real Deebo gangsta shit. Yes, it was. I mean, it really was. Deebo had an unbelievable afternoon. 3 touchdowns. Felt like he had even more in him. Little super chat there. Great to see Kalia Davis in and making plays. I didn't even really notice, to be honest with you. Again, I'm good coming out of a live game. I'm great when you give me a night to think about it, which is why I want to invite everyone back 8 a.m. Monday morning. 49ers Wake Up, simulcast, D. Bruce, Larry Krueger. Hopefully you're watching over here on this channel. We're trying to make it blow up and grow, baby. Trying to make it grow. How about this? We went from 849 to 11,857. Just like that. That means a whole bunch of you reached out and touched that subscribe button. Thank you. Thank you for hitting the like as well. Thank you for all these super chats. I think this is the most amount of super chats on the day where we've had the most amount of people in one room. Means an awful lot. Thank you very, very much. And thank you to the 49ers. I mean, outside of A.J. Brown, who's a total stud, outside of a couple real big boy plays from Jalen Hurts, but nothing that was going to go into the all-time Jalen Hurts highlight reel. Outside of Dom, the security guard, the Eagles didn't have a lot going for them today. They didn't. The Niners just kept on keeping on after they broke out of the starting blocks in horrific fashion. They just kept on coming, man. Kept on coming. T from the 203. $10 super chat. We told you no more from you, T from the 203. I know you're a poor radio board op. You can't afford $10, but I thank you very much. Like I said, the Eagles defense was going to be a problem. You can rip them to shreds. We all knew that was the weak link in the defense. We all said Kyle Shanahan, he can exploit that by finding those matchups, getting Kittle on the slow linebacker, getting McCaffrey on the wrong linebacker, getting someone who's playing safety on the wrong wide receiver. And if Kyle gets to dial up his mismatches, this could get ugly. 29th in the NFL were the Eagles in yardage allowed in the passing game. And Brock was 19 of 27. For 314 yards, an 11.6 average with 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was only sacked twice. And I want to find this out too. You want to talk about a day of offense? The 49ers averaged 8 yards per play. 8 yards per play against that defense in their house? Oh, man. Yeah, that's just kicking an awful lot of ass. Not some of that. It's not like some Eagles got their asses kicked. Everyone, even Dom, the security guard, when it's all said and done, got his ass kicked. All those fans at the link, they get to take a little bit of Deebo's junk home with them. Deebo handed it to him today. He gave him that work. Swift out there is probably still wondering where he is, Norm. He got blasted by Diamador Lenore. Again, you want to keep your starters in a blowout game. When you see Sam Darnold in a game as a human victory cigar, that means you should take all of your players out too. Eagles, they stuck with a few starters, few too long, and again, boom. Mike Greco, going back to meatball burps. Yeah, got meatball burps out of that fat security guard. Hey, I respect a good meatball burp. I do. I've had a few in my day. So impressive to watch the offense blow the doors off the Eagles and shut that stadium up after all of the ejection nonsense. J.D. Sugar. Thank you, J.D. It really was. That stadium was very quiet. Very, very quiet. D. Bruce, they got smoked. Yes, they did. Justin O'Connor. I know this guy. Damon, just got done watching the game in delay. So happy to watch that stomping that the 49ers gave the Eagles. I mean, it was... They put their boots in their ass. They really did. Again, but for Dom, the security guard, A.J. Brown, who is a man amongst men, not a lot happened today. Not a lot happened. Wasn't a great day for the Eagles' offensive line by any stretch of the imagination. They only had, hold on, 46 rushing yards, 146 for the Niners, 46 for the Eagles. That's it. 46 rushing yards. East Coast Red and Gold podcast. I called an ass kicking. Well, you called it right. Got David Young saying, D. Bruce, they got smoke. Keep it lit, baby. Listening all the way in Levi's Hillside, Northern. And then I don't know where the rest of that tweet went or chat went. But thank you very much, David, no matter where you are. I'm so glad that you can listen. I appreciate it. That dude is a new sub. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that. Thanks for coming on in. Just joined. Well, you are absolutely amongst friends, and we're glad that you're here. Hopefully, you make this part of your normal watching habits and routine. Let's see where we are now. 11,859 of you have hit subscribe, and I thank you. Again, you hit notify, right? You hit notify, and you don't have to remember that I'm on the air doing anything. YouTube will tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, he's back. And he will be back on Monday for 49ers Wake Up on my channel, simulcast with Larry Krueger. It is the best 49er morning show you're going to find anywhere. It's the best morning show in the Bay Area. And I think Larry and I are going to claim Mondays and Fridays as ours. Again, we got all sorts of things for radio stations to worry about, mostly experience and talent. Andrew, thanks, Big Dom. Missed your shot on the Be the Sopranos, so we had to settle with hanging out with Nick, Captain Douchebag Sirianni. Again, what is he doing on the chalk? What role of security does he need to play standing next to Sirianni in a game? You got a body man there? You got a man on your body? You're surrounded by your own football team. You're pretty safe. I mean, shouldn't he be looking into the stands or looking into the fans? What is he doing touching an opposing player? How the hell is that guy allowed to do that? I thought Dre Greenlaw was going to be kept in the game just because of that. He touched Dre Greenlaw first. And if there's one thing I do know is that Dre Greenlaw shouldn't touch anybody, but the guy working for the Eagles who's dressed in civvies shouldn't even be there. Well, he's head of security. Everyone's safe. Everyone's safe. This isn't like a Smiley Dan security meeting where everyone's going to come outside and get high. This is everybody safe. Smiley Dan usually keeps everybody safe too. Never daunted. Damon, we're national, baby. Giant Niner fan, Damon, when do memberships start? You know what? I know a lot of people are thinking, Damon, what can we get you for Christmas? I don't even know what membership will entail, but I do believe that the week before Christmas, we're going to allow people to support this channel because a lot of people ask, Damon, when's merch coming? It's not coming in time for Christmas. A lot of people really want to support this, and I thank you all for wanting to do that beyond just hitting like or subscribe or notify. People want to throw a little something at the effort, and we're going to allow you to do that with memberships that are going to start at $10,000 each. For $10,000, you can claim to be a real supporter of the channel. Now, obviously, we're going to come in at $15,000. That feels like a more reasonable price. But no, memberships are coming. Thank you for asking. And what we really got to do is figure out what that's going to mean for you beyond just the bragging rights. Again, Justin O'Connor says, game ball for that secondary is pretty amazing how much time Hurts had when he had nowhere to throw the ball, wasn't it? It really was. It was something else. And again, there's a clock of diminishing returns. Against this defense, like you can keep a play alive for a few heartbeats, that's good for you. But too many heartbeats, that starts turning into this is good for the Niners. And Jalen Hurts had at least 3 or 4, you should throw that ball away, sons, and he didn't. He didn't. He tried to force something. He didn't make it happen. It was an incomplete. He was off target. He threw to the sidelines anyways, or he was sacked. That was Oh, here you go. Perfect. Domination. I get it. David Young. Bravo. I wish I would have come up with that myself. Oh, Damon, I'm new here. How's it going, D. Bruce? It's going very, very well. By the way, Benjamin Shapiro is not that Ben Shapiro. He's the good Benjamin Shapiro, and he is the podfather. And I'm telling you, if you miss anything here, including this show, and you want to listen to it in its entirety, it will be podcast. The Damon Bruce Show, Damon Bruce Plus, is available wherever you download your podcasts. So please, if you'd like to continue to support me, download the podcast as well as subscribing to the channel means an awful lot. Thank you so very, very much. Bang, bang, D. Bruce gang. Damon, you going to have Joe Fortenbaugh on and gloat? No, here's the thing. Joe didn't have one of those the Eagles are about to do damage Fortenbaugh Fridays with it. Joe came in humbly. We just talked sports. He wasn't bragging about anything. I think we can let Joe off the hook. Days says, I got receipts, man. I predicted the Niners would win 31-17. Guess I underestimated us. Actually, you know what, Days? I remember you do calling that out. I do. I do remember you writing that down, and you had it. You had it. Again, on The Price is Right, your bid would still be alive. You didn't go over. You went under. You came in, you nailed it. Little super chat here from Knee Numbers. Knee 07133. We got to work on that. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Deebo walked that walk. He did. He walked it into the end zone twice. He certainly walked it in. Felt like untouched on that second screen that popped for a touchdown. The first screen that popped, it's like he shook an eagle off of his back and ran through 2 other guys and just kept going. And then he was essentially untouched on his, I'm running it in. I won't even call it an end around because it's not like he's starting from the end. He's kind of in the backfield there, but it's the razzle dazzle that makes him so dangerous. And when the Niners are always at their best, when the Niners are always at their best, is when he is in the middle of their offense. Their game plan is providing that element of violence that I keep on talking about. An element of violence is when the Niners are at their best. UC Steve. I watched the game. I cooked dinner for my family, and Damon is still on. That's the hardest working non-athlete on Sunday. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I thank you very much. And how could we not keep talking about this one? It was the game of the year. It was set up to be the game of the year, and in the second half, it turned into a little bit of a snooze fest. It didn't live up to its entertainment level billing, but in terms of circumstances, in terms of Both these teams officially got hair on their chest and are about to maybe do something special this year. The Niners just put their cigarettes out right in the middle of an Eagles beak. And that was unexpected. I thought, yeah, they could win. I didn't think they were going to win like this. I didn't think they were going to have a grab the entire nation by both lapels and say, you cannot deny us who we are. There might be teams with better records, but is anyone playing better football? And since the 49ers have come out of the bye, the answer is no. No one's playing better football than the Niners since their bye week. They are just out here kicking ass and taking names. SD 1593 says, Damon, forget about national. You're worldwide. Again, like frickin' Pitbull. We're global. Junior RC says, Damon, so glad to hear you. My dad had been asking about where you had gone to. We randomly found you trying to figure out what happened over at 95.7. Again, thank you for finding me. I'm so glad that you did. Let's hang out. Welcome to the coolest sports talk community you're going to find anywhere. I love this audience. It's not an audience. It's not an audience listening to me. We are a community actually talking with each other. I'm just lucky enough to let it happen in my house. So thank you very much for coming on over to my house. Damon, Patreon would save you a lot of money. YouTube takes an awful lot out of your pocket. But I just don't want to ask people to go find me in other places. Or, you're over here, you're being a patron over here. I don't want to ask you to go to somewhere else to also support me. It's just asking people to do too much. And hopefully we'll be dealing in volume, where the volume of views and the ad revenue off of that and the volume of memberships or super chats will just mean that's fine. It all comes out in the wash. But I thank you for the advice. And that's the incredible cool thing about this community, man. It's people. It's people who have great advice and want to help out and want to support what we're doing here. Tornado Sunflower. Great name. I'm glad the Eagles lost big. Otherwise, Dom the security guard would have been lauded as some kind of cult hero. Exactly. You would have been their human rally monkey. I'm glad we don't need Dom the security guard t-shirts. Dom, he'll get mentioned on Monday. He won't get his own segment. He's not going to get booked on Good Morning America or anything like that. Because, again, when Dom got involved, it might have woken the Eagles up for a minute there, but ultimately the Eagles get put to sleep by the Niners. Damon wants 100,000 followers. I do want 100,000 followers. After that, I want 1 million. I'm getting greedy. Again, I just came over here to do a nice little show, but then I'm going full on vengeance. I can't just sit by and watch an entire industry gut itself and not think, all right, if you're literally gonna drop your food, I'm not just picking up the scraps. I'm coming for the steak and potatoes. I'm not here for crumbs. I want the whole fucking pie. And I'll share it with like-minded people like Larry Krueger and people. Look, there's going to be a generation of talented people flocking to YouTube because stations have screwed them up and over. I want to be here to catch and embrace them and help them rebuild. Can we call Brock a top 5 quarterback? What would be the argument that he isn't? What would be the argument that he's not right now? You'd certainly have no real win-loss record to point at. You'd have no data or statistics to support the fact he wasn't in the top 5. You wouldn't have the opinion of anybody in the league who actually knows what they're talking about. You talk to the players in players' locker rooms. You talk to actual guys who have played in this league. You talk to Hall of Fame quarterbacks who tend to recognize what the position really entails. All of them are telling you this guy's the real deal. Only hot take artists who won't come off their opening gambit of I don't think he can play are the only ones sticking with I don't think Brock is very good, which is ridiculous. Tiger Tank. Again, I remember Tiger Tank was calling an Eagles win. Big Niners fan calling an Eagles win. He was skeptical. He was worried. Damon, I really thought the Niners were going to lose this. They surprised me. And you probably thought that your distrust was well placed after that first quarter, which was the worst first quarter of any game Kyle Shanahan has ever coached. It was awful. It was dreadful. And they have one of the most rousing, convincing wins of the Kyle Shanahan era. And Postman's right. D. Bruce Fortenbaugh was on the Niners on this one. Yes, he was. I was the one saying you got to take 3 points with 10-1 at home. So there you go. Got McFly JP saying Philly better not make any excuses about rest. They said that the 49ers had no excuses. They can't have any either. Oh, yeah, look, when you lose by this many points, it wasn't just 3 days that did that. You got your ass kicked by a better team. And look, just because they're the better team today doesn't mean they'll be the better team if they meet again in the postseason. But they were the better team today, and it was overwhelming. UCC says, Damon, be careful. Your increase in YouTube fame will catch the eyes of Fox Sports 1, ESPN. Don't go to the dark side. Really have to make clown takes. Here's the thing. No one has ever been able to or would be able to ever tell me like, oh, this is what you need to talk about and this is how you need to talk about it today. I wouldn't take that job. But what would be great is to go there and finally have a little reason. I don't know if they're in the reason business, but imagine some reason being put forward on all these hot take shows. I don't know if they do that. I don't know if I fit the level of bullshit that they want to serve. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty proud that I don't. Michelle Haberman. That was a soul-cleansing win. A total beatdown in the second half. I wasn't bored at all. Hollering at the top of my lungs. Oh, come on, Michelle. Cheers. Here's to you. Michelle's been OG supporting this show, supporting this channel, and me since the days of yore. Damon, will there be a Plus Mania Part 3? For those of us who could not yet, there was Plus Mania, then there was Plus Mania 2, Electric Boogaloo. There will be Plus Mania 3, The Revenge. It's happening. Don't know when, but it's going to happen. February, March, how about we time Plus Mania with the 1 year anniversary of this channel launching? That could happen. I haven't even really thought about it yet, but Plus Mania 3 is guaranteed to happen. We don't know when, we don't know where, but it's going to happen. Damon, don't leave YouTube. I'm in. Let me tell you, there isn't a single person who is smart out there. How about the highest paid guy in all of sports media is Stephen A. Smith. And right now, Stephen A. Smith is more concerned about his YouTube channel than he even is ESPN. Everyone knows where the future is. It ain't on linear TV, it's not on cable, and it certainly isn't on the radio. It's right here. We are in the biggest sports bar in the world. It's called YouTube. And we're serving it up. Dong, leave YouTube? I said, don't leave YouTube. I don't even know what Twitch is. Hey, we're over on Twitch. I don't even know what Twitch is either. It's a place where they watch me by the single digit number after the single digit number. But it's good. We're just putting our show all sorts of different places. I'm telling you, I'm never going to put it on my phone. I think I'm going to have to hire an intern to do this or something. But we're eventually going to go to TikTok. I don't ever want to see it. I don't want to know anything about it. I'm not going to claim it. I'm not going to tout it. But I heard that there's 1 billion people over there too. So maybe we'll go get those billions. What else we got going on? Jeffrey Susudio? Anyways, Jeffrey Saucedo, I believe. The East Coast is going to endorse anyone other than Brock. Well, then I guess the East Coast is going to get it wrong. The whole coast will have it wrong. Again, who is definitely a better quarterback in just the NFC? Because the AFC, you got Burrow, you got Mahomes, you got Lamar, you got Tua. You know, when Aaron Rodgers is healthy, he's in the AFC now too. The AFC is loaded with quarterbacking talent. Justin Herbert, I know the Chargers had no great day today, but he's still really good. You got CJ Stroud in his rookie years putting up very impressive numbers. There's a lot of talent in the quarterbacking world of the AFC. Just looking at the NFC, who's definitely better than Brock. Definitely 100%, no doubt about it, better than Brock. I don't know who that is. Now, I know who the best are. I think you got to include Jalen Hurts. Again, Jalen didn't have a good game today. I'm not going to reassess him and reevaluate him as can't play, underperforming, underwhelming presence. I'm not gonna. He's really good. He's really good. Dak Prescott. It's easy to not like Dak Prescott if you're a Niner fan and you hate the Cowboys. Dak Prescott's playing good football lately. You telling me Jared Goff? No. Brock Purdy's in this conversation almost faster than anybody wants him to be. There you go. A little Two Bones saying, D, going to Tony Montana. I want it all. Scarface. Absolutely. The world is mine. I see it right on the blimp outside my Miami fountain. Oh, now Rock is getting real aggressive, saying, hey, let's just sign Ohtani and make this a week to remember for San Francisco. I'll tell you. Now, here's the other thing. Corner a market, right? Who was doing Ohtani Tuesdays before me? I was the first person in the world telling you that Shohei Ohtani was like the single greatest baseball player of all time. I don't need to see anything else. He's better than Roof, better than Bonds, better than all of them, better than Sandy Koufax, better than Cy Young, better than everybody. This guy's the best ever. You put him in a Giants uniform, holy shit. The channel's going to explode. We're already big in Japan. Think how much bigger we'll get. Might have to do Plus Mania 3 in Japan. Damon, Dallas Niners in the NFC title game. Your thoughts? The Eagles will tailspin after this. Hey, let's see what happens. The Eagles are playing the Cowboys Sunday, a week from now. That's a monster. And after that, again, I'm not playing this who's in the title game. Can I see the paths? Can I see who's got home field? There's too many moving parts. What you want is every Niner fan is in the rare situation where you're going to be rooting for the Dallas Cowboys next week, and the Niners got to handle their business against Seattle. That's it. One step at a time, 1 week at a time. There are 5 more weeks of football. That's a lot of football. Lots of football still to be played. Haberman, Revenge of the Bruce. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Jeff says, look, Damon, you get Joan from payroll, you get Turkey on the 50, Balky in the French Laundry comment. You got to coin something for Don. Dude, it's the meatball burp game. It's the Don the meatball burp. That's all he is. He is a meatball burp. He lingered, kind of made his presence felt there, but when it was all said and done, he and the Eagles vanished like a meatball burp. Uh-oh, hold on. I'm seeing a frozen picture of me. Can you still hear me? I think you can still hear me. You just got a little bit of a frozen picture right now. Money Green says, I'll help you grow your Twitch and TikTok channel. Reach out, Money Green. I appreciate it. Reach out. Look, it looks like this video is frozen, but I still think you can hear us. But yes, we are frozen. Did I tell you? It's not frozen at all. I've been working on ventriloquism, and I'm doing this entire show with a dummy now. Unfortunately, you can't see the dummy. But this is all ventriloquism going on. Look at that 2-hour mark. I can already hear kids going upstairs, getting into the bath, which means Jillian needs a little help. I think I'm going to go help her out. Thank you for helping me out. And the frozen man is just going to vanish on you right here. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hit like on your way out if you already haven't. Please go ahead and hit subscribe and hit notify. Thank you for being a part of this community and the growth of this channel, for supporting it by either showing up, watching, super chatting. However you've done it today, it means an awful lot, and I thank you. Join me and Larry Krueger Monday morning, 8 a.m. It's 49ers Wake Up, simulcast on both our channels, but he'll have many more people watching on his, so you come over here and watch on mine, and I will talk to you during 49ers Wake Up. In the meantime, thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks to Dr. Hughes for all the sponsorship. Again, you got knee problems, joint problems, pain, go get his cellular replacement therapy. It works. It is legit. Trust me. I got the knee to prove it. Thank you very much for tuning in. Means an awful lot. And please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it.